When you're ready.
All right, cool. Hey, it's Dr. Allin here at Evolve Chiropractic in Woodstock. I wanted to take a little time to tell you a little bit about my story, what got me into this practice, the experiences that I've had through injuries, surgeries, medications, basically just what got me here and what creates my passion to help patients like you. Well, basically, what started my journey into this path was my career as a gymnast. So from age 5 through age about 21, I lived in the gym.
1.55, and that ruined him. Otherwise, he was on record pace. Look at
Great job, and that skill in the middle of Gutsogi. Double back, but he didn't let go of the rings.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And of course, works out of the right to a double back dismount. Man, does he look great up there.
Anywhere from 3 to 5 hours a day, we were working out, and I was trained to basically avoid pain. And so if you felt something painful, rub some dirt back on it, get back up there, and fight it out. Obviously, if you broke something, you'd have to sit out for a while, but you were trying to get back in as fast as you possibly could. Always constantly pushing yourself, pushing. Eventually, I got to the top of my game.
Well, there is your rings champion, Christopher Allin, senior from Hoffman Estates, tying a state record 9.8.
Won state championships, got a scholarship to college for athletics. My first year there ended up fracturing my lumbar spine, which basically took me out of the sport. My goal at that point in time was to go into the medical profession. I was really interested in orthopedic surgery. But going through that process of really injuring my back and talking to different doctors, and basically their end result was, you're a surgical candidate, but we're not going to do surgery, you're too young. So they were feeding me medications. I had, a turtle shell back brace that I was stuck in for probably anywhere from 3 to 6 months. There were a couple scenarios where I had to kind of rehab myself back in, got back into competition, injured it again, tried to rehab myself back in again. But again, it was just medications on medications, like Vioxx, which eventually was taken off the market for giving people heart attacks and strokes. I used to have bags full of that stuff walking out of the doctor's office. Hydrocodone, which were opiate medications, muscle relaxers, handfuls of Advil before every practice. I didn't really know much about conservative care, massage therapy, chiropractic. I'd heard about it, and I just heard it's not really going to do much for you. So I never really went that route. Eventually, I wasn't able to rehab myself back into competition, so I ended up basically failing out of school and just forgetting about any type of career in medicine. I ended up finding a massage therapist shortly thereafter, which kind of taught me about muscle work, and I was able to get out of pain for the first time in my life, which was kind of crazy to me. So I really started going into that direction of wow, why didn't I know about this? Why didn't I have access to these things? And I just started going that direction of complementary alternative medicine, which is what it was called at the time. But massage therapy, basically started to go to massage therapy school at that point in time, started to get more interested back into school, and ended up getting my massage therapy license. And I worked for different things. I worked for a physical therapist, I worked for medical spas, I worked for a chiropractor. I really liked working with the chiropractor because we had a great rapport with patients, and we were able to diagnose and treat without the use of drugs or surgery, which were those were the things that kind of felt like they were a dead end for me at that point. So my goal at that point was to, try to make it so patients didn't have to go that route, where they could find another source. They could learn how to cope with pain if it is a chronic pain scenario, if it's something that couldn't have surgery, or if they did have surgery, how do you work with those patients to make them have hope in life and get back to a wellness level where they can actually enjoy life a little bit. So that's the direction I went. I went through massage therapy school, worked as a massage therapist, and I went back to finish my bachelor's degree in biomedical science, which is more like a pre-med degree. When I finished that, I went right into the chiropractic program. From that point, my body was kind of deteriorating from gymnastics. So one day I was playing volleyball, dove for the ball into the sand, and basically went paralyzed from my neck down. I had tingling, numbness all throughout my legs, my arms, and I was kind of like, yeah, I should probably get that checked out. Prior to that, I would always have neck stiffness, tightness, little zingers going into my arms, but I was trained not to really focus on pain and to kind of push that stuff off to the side, which I never really looked into it. Well, I went and got that checked out after that volleyball incident, and I found that I had, 2 discs that were pushing directly on my spinal cord. Now, I tried conservative care for probably 3 to 4 months. It really wasn't getting any better. It was actually getting a little bit worse. Every time I would study, I would be looking down, my arm would start to creep into like a stroke posture. So it was at a point where conservative care just wasn't an option. It was too far gone by that point where I had to get the surgery done. So I went and got my surgery completed. They removed 2 discs in my neck, put in a plate, fused 3 of my vertebrae together, and I was feeling much better. It's interesting, I was, my first year into chiropractic school and I was going to get a neck surgery. But going through that process really showed me the healing capabilities of the body and the limitations that we can kind of put on ourselves if we've gone through a surgery, if we've had a major injury, where we think that we're not able to do certain things, but we really can. So that first surgery got done. I made it through school, graduated, started to practice, and then I had to get another surgery. So once you have neck fusion surgeries or any kind of spinal surgery, what ends up happening is the levels above and below start to deteriorate faster than they normally would. So at that point, I was getting pain down my arms, chronic headaches, I was getting burning in my legs because there was pressure on my spinal cord again. So I was back on these pain medications, and I had gone through chiropractic school and I knew that this wasn't the best route, but it was really the only thing that was helping me at that point in time. Now, slippery slope as it was, I ended up using them more and more, and basically became physically addicted to these medications where I had to take these meds to feel normal. I remember laying in bed at one point in time, just like being there, like laying, crying, like feeling so helpless, like there's nothing that could possibly be done to help me at this point in time. And I remember just laying there and just feeling so hopeless and just wanting someone to be able to help me at that point. And it was more so the medications and how long I had been taking them, the physical dependency that had built up, that was creating the problem more so than the actual physical problem that was inside my body. Now I ended up having the second surgery. I ended up weaning off the medications, which was a terrible process. Chills, shakes, hallucinations. I was told by one doctor that I probably should have never been put on the combination of medications that I was on, because you could go into seizures. So getting off of all those things was a crazy process. And eventually I did, which again, I was able to get back to my body's healing capabilities. Eventually I had to have another neck surgery. Similar process, got on pain medications, but this time I knew a little bit more about that. I was able to use more natural therapeutics, deal with inflammation from a natural perspective, using diet, just gentle movement patterns, and really doing rehab the way that I was supposed to. So I got through that pretty well, and at this point in time, I'm feeling the best I pretty much have in my entire life. Got through some really tough parts, but was able to learn a lot about pain and learn about coping mechanisms and how to heal yourself from the inside out. Now, I never would have been able to do any of that without the use of chiropractic care, massage, physical therapy, nutrition. All these things got me to where I am today, to where I don't need to use any pain medications. I still have stiffness, tightness. I get little pains here and there because I have metal and screws inside my body that just comes along for the ride. But I've learned to cope with it. So at this point, I can kind of consider my goal in this profession is to help people find that hope, help people realize that you don't have to rely on surgical interventions. You don't have to rely on pain medications to get through life. A lot of those times those are the first, our go-to interventions, where they should be the last. You should always start with conservative care. Because once you cut yourself open, once you start with those addictive medications, it kind of just piles up, then you get stuck in a cycle and it's hard to see your way out. So if you've never been in my office before, I'd love the opportunity to evaluate your case, see if this is something that we would be able to even help you with. And if I can't help you, my job is to find out what's the best intervention for you. How can we get you back to living your life? How can we get you back to feeling great, to healing, to loving life again? Because I know you can get to points where you don't really love life too much and you feel like you're stuck. So reach out if you have any questions. I'd love to help you. Take care. I'll see you soon.